Hello, my name is Kazu. Nice to meet you. This is part of my 365-day daily challenge, speaking English for 30 minutes straight. Today is day 330. Almost there. 330. Wow. I have 35 days left. Day 330. 330. 300s or 300? 300s, right? 330. 330. $330 なんだ。へえ。300。300。そうなんだ。I think like, three, so it's not single, so it's plural. That's what I thought. Hundreds. Hundreds of people, thousands of cars. In that case, you have to say, yeah, yes. But 330. Okay, great. Today is day 330. I have 35 days left. English is so complicated, and I don't like it. But maybe Japanese is much more difficult than English, so maybe I can't complain it. I can't complain about it, かなあれ? I hate English. I complain about it. Okay. I can't complain about it because in Japanese is much more difficult than English. So maybe Japanese learners have kind of the same frustrations as I have. Anyway, yeah, 35 days left. It means, so October 15th, yeah, around 15th, maybe. It's near. My birthday is close to that day, I guess. Time is everything. Time is everything. Oh, I don't know why, but I got three new subscribers. Now I have as many as 16 subscribers. Thank you for my subscribers. I don't know why, but it's a very big step. Thank you very much. Complain about it. Anyway, So today I just did work. That's it. And just like before, still I haven't been able to make my morning routine a habit. I'm struggling to do that. But, like I can always wake up at 5 a.m. Thanks to the alarm app. Alarmy. It's called Alarmy. Like you must do something to stop the alarm. In my case, I must scan an exact QR code to stop the alarm. I put that QR code on the refrigerator. So every time I need to go to the kitchen to scan the QR code to stop the alarm. That's the way. Anyway, after that I always went back to sleep. So it's kind of meaningless, but the first step, I cleared the first step. So the next step is to keep me awake. Next step is keeping me awake, kana? After waking up. Yeah, I already said this so many times, but the how can I say, the rude problem. Maybe I said this incorrect word before. Anyway, sorry 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 about that. Anyway, so the rude problem is the time I go to bed. I always try to go to bed around 9, but actually I always go to bed around like 11 or midnight. So that's the problem. That's the main problem. If I solve that problem, maybe I can always wake up at 5 a.m. and keeping me awake after that. So, how do I do that? Use my morning time effectively is the answer, because like I always try to get back to the time I wasted. So that's why I always try to wake up longer than I longer as much as possible. That's the problem. Like I always want to, try to get back the time at night. So that's not good, actually. So the solution is use morning time effectively, I guess. Okay, let's correct what I said so far. So today I just worked. That's it. And just like before, I still haven't been able to make my morning routine a habit. Almost, correct. I'm struggling to do that. But I can always get myself out of bed at 5 a.m. Thanks to my alarm app, I can always wake up at 5 a.m. when my alarm goes off. Get out of bed. Get out of bed. You know, the hearing doesn't work well. I think the ChatGPT's voice input system doesn't work properly. So that's why it sometimes, transcribe what I said incorrectly. Anyway, I can always wake up at 5 a.m. when my alarm goes off. I use an app called Alarmy. You have to complete a task to turn off the alarm. I said stop the alarm, but turn off. Okay. In my case, I have to scan a specific QR code to turn off the alarm. Turn off the alarm. Turn off the alarm. Actually, I think ChatGPT pointed it out before. Yeah. So I didn't learn from that. Anyway, I put the QR code on my refrigerator. So every morning, I have to go to the kitchen and scan the QR code to turn off the alarm. Turn off the alarm. Alarm. That's how it works. But after that, I always go back to sleep. No, I said went back to sleep anyway. So it's kind of defeats the purpose. Defeats the purpose. Purpose. So it kinds of defeats the purpose. It kinds of defeats the purpose. And at least I've accomplished for the first step. At least I've cleared the first step. So the next step is to stay awake. Okay, keep me awake is odd. Sorry. Stay awake. But the next step is to stay awake. Copy keeps me awake. So something keeps me awake. In this case, there's no something, just I need to keeps myself awake. So it sounds odd. Okay, I understand. The next step is staying awake after I get up. Get up. Get up. What is the difference between get up and wake up? Wake up is just like conscious. Being conscious. Get up means get out of bed, I guess. The root problem. Yeah, I said root problem. I said this incorrect word before. The root problem. Can I say the root problem? Okay. The root problem. The root problem is what time I go to bed. I always try to go to bed around midnight, but I usually end up going to bed around 1 a.m. I didn't say 1 a.m. midnight. I said wait, midnight. Anyway, I was trying to go to bed around midnight, but I usually end up going to bed around end up going to bed around 1 a.m. That's the main problem. If I can solve that problem, maybe I'll be able to wake up at 5 a.m. and stay awake. So how can I fix that? How can I fix that? I think the answer is to use my morning routine. I think the answer is to use my mornings more effectively. My mornings means morning time. My mornings. Because I always feel like I need to make up for the time I wasted during the day. I'm trying to make up for lost time. I'm trying to make up for the lost time. Make up for the time I wasted during the day. That's why I always try to stay up as late as possible. As late as possible. As much, not as much. Okay, as late as possible. That's the problem. I always try to make up for lost time at night. For lost time at night. That's actually making things worse. Making things worse. That's actually making things worse. I've heard this phrase so many times. So I guess the solution is to use my mornings more effectively. Okay, great. Let me try again. Complain about it. So, yeah. Today is day 330. Not 300. Just 330. I thought, 300 means not single, like plural. So that's why I thought I should have said hundreds, but in this case, I cannot say that. Just 330. And this is English is so complicated, and I hate that, but I cannot complain about it because Japanese is much more difficult than English, and maybe Japanese language learners, how can I say it? Anyway, how should I say it? Anyway, Japanese learners maybe have the same complaints about Japanese as well as I have. Anyway, so I want to talk about my morning routine. Still, I can always, I still haven't been able to make my morning routine a habit. Actually, I can always wake up at 5 a.m. when my alarm goes off. Thanks to my alarm app. It's called Alarm Me. Like you have to complete a task you designate to turn off the alarm. In my case, I have to scan a specific QR code to turn off the alarm. So every morning I have to go to the kitchen and scan the QR code to turn off the alarm. Anyway, so at least I can get up at 5 a.m. But the next problem is I cannot stay awake after getting out of bed. Like I always go to bed. That's that's the next step. Anyway, but at least I've cleared the first hurdle. Oh, okay. I've cleared the first hurdle. The next step is to stay awake. Actually, the reason why I cannot stay awake, I mean, the root problem is what time I go to bed. The root problem is what time I go to bed. I always try to go to bed around 9 p.m. but always I end up going bed around like 11 p.m. or midnight. So how can I fix it? I think the answer is to use my mornings effectively. This is a contradiction because I need to wake up, in order to use my mornings more effectively, I need to get up earlier. But in order to get up earlier, I need to go to bed earlier. But I need if I wanna go to bed earlier, I need to wake up earlier. So that's the kind of the contradiction circle. Anyway, yeah, but that's the answer. So at least only once I need to how can I say it? How should I say it? Sorry. How should I say it? How should I say it? I need to I need to stay awake forcefully. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think the answer is to use my mornings more effectively because I always feel like I need to because I always feel like I need to make up for lost time. Make up for the time I wasted during the day. So maybe I'm trying to make up for lost time. Yeah. So that's why I always try to stay up as late as possible. So maybe at least once I need to stay awake forcefully. Yeah. Today I don't have a plan. I don't have a plenty of time, so I need to leave as soon as the time turns 30 minutes. I wake up at 5 a.m. but I don't get up right away. No, I didn't want it. I didn't want to see. I can get up at 5 a.m. I need to force myself to stay. I need to force myself to stay. I need to force myself to stay awake. At least once I need to force myself to stay awake after getting up at 5 a.m. I think I just need to force myself to stay awake while morning and break the cycle. Yeah, actually, sometimes, I can stay awake after waking up at 5 a.m., but I cannot keep it. So that's the root problem, another root problem. Yeah, let's talk about that later. Not today, sorry. I don't have a time. Anyway, yeah, let's correct what I said so far. What? Exactly. Today is day 330. Not 300, just 330. That's why I thought I should say 100. Sorry, I said I should have said, but I didn't say it. I didn't need to say it. But in this case, I can't say 100, yes. It's just 330. English is so complicated and I hate that. But I can't really complain about it because Japanese is probably even more difficult for Japanese learners. So, the reason why I can speak Japanese fluently is just getting used to it. Just I got used to it. I'm used to it. I got used to it. I'm used to it. But anyway, yeah. How should I say it? Anyway, yeah. So people learning Japanese, I guess. How should I say it? Anyway, people learning Japanese probably have the same complaints about Japanese that I have about English. What the? Anyway, back to my morning routine. I still haven't been able to make my morning routine a habit. I still haven't been able to make a habit. I can't always get up at 5 a.m. when my alarm goes off. That's thanks to an alarm app called Alarmy. That's thanks to an alarm app called Alarmy. You have to complete a task that you've set up in advance. Beforehand, it's gonna in advance. In advance. Nice word. In advance. In my case, I have to scan a specific QR code to turn off the alarm. So every morning I have to go to the kitchen and scan the QR code to turn off the alarm. Anyway, at least I can get up at 5 a.m. But the next problem is that I can't stay awake after getting out of bed. I always end up going back to sleep. That's the next step. But at least I've cleared the first hurdle. I've cleared the first hurdle. The next step is to stay awake. Actually, the reason I can't stay awake or rather, the root problem is what time I go to bed. The root problem is what time I go to bed. I always try to go to bed around 9 a.m., but I end up going to bed around 11 p.m. or midnight. Thank you so much. Bye bye. 30 minutes.